Hello, well, people. Welcome again into 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Welcome again into this edition of Strategies for Living. Why am I saying hello, well, people?
Because you want us all to be well.
I do want us all to be well, but I do believe that if you're listening to this program on some level, you are well or want to be well deeply.
You're getting more well.
You're getting more well.
Weller.
Weller, weller and weller as every moment that you listen to Strategies for
Let's get
Living.
weller.
I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. You are PLPC Carla McCormick. He is the ace of the airwaves, Rapid Ruben Wright.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. Just trying to keep this thing out of the mountains.
And you're doing a good job, sir. Do either one of you know, this is Wellness Week on Strategies. You know that, of course.
I do know that.
Do either one of you, we're a little remiss, this is already Wednesday, we're already halfway through Wellness Week. Do either one of you know the definition of wellness?
Not being sick.
Right.
Not exactly. Okay, the definition of wellness, the state of being in good health, especially as an actively pursued goal.
So you don't ever get well. You are always becoming more and more well.
Yeah, I think so.
Well.
Look what we've all got to look forward to this evening. We're focusing on the body this evening in Wellness Week. We're going to talk about exercise and how important exercise is for your brain because, exercise builds our body muscles, but it also builds gray matter. We're going to talk about that. In fact, we're going to do the extremes this evening. We're going to go from one end to the other. We're going to go from the activity of exercise all the way to the other side, and we're going to talk about how to sleep soundly. So you got to be well, you got to get your exercise, you got to move your body, and see, she's already there.
Right.
Yeah. Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living. We are presented by CADA, the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse of Northwest Louisiana, and they've been helping individuals and families for 60 years now. We are also brought to you by Milestones Counseling Center, by Jerry Anderson State Farm Insurance, by Learning RX, by Highland Place Rehab and Nursing Center, by Resilient House, and by Jacob's Well Inspirational Books and Gifts. We are talking wellness. We are going to come back, talk about moving our bodies to improve our gray matter this evening on Strategies. If we're talking addiction prevention, education, and treatment in Shreveport-Bossier, not bad enough that I have to deal with this OCD of mine, and I'm over at the other window dealing with the sign, and then my co-host, how's the sign behind me tonight?
They have medicine for that.
What is she doing, Ruben?
I think you know.
Is she
exactly
making a move? Is she making a move to take over? Is that the deal here?
She's looking to have you put away.
Yeah, I know. Welcome back into Strategies for Living, folks. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. And I am marriage and family therapist David McMillan, and she is PLPC Carla McCormick, and right now the bane of my existence.
He loves me, folks.
Yes, I do.
Don't let him fool you.
Yes, I do. Okay, so we're in the middle of Wellness Week, and we are talking about moving your body. And here's a news flash, Carla. Exercise is not all about your body. In fact, building muscles and conditioning your heart and circulatory system are actually side effects. Exercise is really about your brain. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, exercise is about your brain. Humans evolved actually to move, and that movement, hunting and foraging and running and climbing, spurred brain growth, especially in the prefrontal cortex, which differentiates us. It makes us more human. It differentiates us from other animals. So thinking is the evolutionary internalization of movement, according to New York University neuroscience professor Rodolfo Lanas, MD, PhD. He's the author of I, of the Vortex, From Neurons to Self. When you're exercising, your brain is usually not, of course, what's on your mind, but that activity is building your gray matter in so many ways, making you more alert, more creative, more motivated, more perceptive, according to Dr. John Ratey, the Associate Clinical Professor of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical Center. It's helping you learn better, remember more, and combat stress. It's boosting your mood, at the same time helping you overcome anxiety and depression. In some, exercise keeps the brain healthy. It just does. So the real reason that we feel good when we get our blood pumping is that it makes the brain function at its best, according to Dr. Rete, author of Spark, the revolutionary new science of exercise and the brain. The point of exercise is to build and condition the brain, and of course the reverse is also true. What virtually no one recognizes, he warns, is that inactivity is actually killing our brain. So what do you think about that?
Wow. So we all know that when you exercise, it releases, the good chemicals that, make you feel good. And
Yeah.
And we've already learned from our experts that exercise, can make you smarter and keep your brain active and firing on all the right cylinders. But I guess I didn't really realize the extent of that.
Yeah. Makes you want to go get in the gym.
It does make me want to go at least for a walk.
Yeah, there you go. And that's, again, we all talk about the gym today, and we forget what you just mentioned is you can exercise. After my heart surgery in 2008, the surgeon told me, he said, actually the very best exercise you can do is to walk and walk and walk and walk and walk and walk.
Well, I read a study, I guess a while back, about the health benefits of walking and the longevity of walkers. And what they found is a lot of people who run will run and run and run, and they'll eventually get hurt and they'll stop running. Yeah. But walkers just keep walking and walking and walking well into, their upper years. Yeah. Because walkers are just walkers. Yeah. And they don't, they're hardly going to tear an ACL or whatever, quad, just from walking. Yeah. So, longevity wise, walking seems to be the exercise.
Yeah, well, walkers are just walkers unless you're on The Walking Dead, and then there's something else.
I thought you said you didn't watch TV.
I watch that. In fact, one of the reasons that I don't watch more TV is because of shows like The Walking Dead. I get hooked, and then I'm addicted to so I have to watch that, right?
So then you have to go for a walk.
Exactly. So scientists, and we've talked about this, scientists long believed that we're born with all the neurons we're ever going to get, and that our brains are hardwired once we get past adolescence. But in the last few decades, research has challenged all of those views. We now know that the brain is flexible, it's plastic, neuroplasticity. So in the parlance of neuroscientists, more Play-Doh than porcelain. Our brains are constantly growing. They can even be rewired. And exercise, turns out, is one of the keys. Scientists understand that physical activity stresses our brains similarly to how it works our muscles. Neurons break down and then they recover and become stronger and more resilient. Aerobic exercise can change the brain's anatomy, physiology, and function, according to New York University neuroscience professor Dr. Wendy Suzuki, who has actually been a life strategist here on Strategies for Living. And she's the author of Healthy Brain, Happy Life. She is I need to get her back on. We need to get her back on. She's a great interview. There's been a lot of recent studies that have revealed just how those changes occur. What's becoming clear are the many neurological factors that activity positively influences. And let's talk about some of those. Can we do that?
We can.
All right. So let's talk about something that I need more of: alertness and perception.
You need to be more alert?
Yeah, I do. I do. Sometimes I wonder. The brain is all about communication. It's composed of 100 billion neurons that confer with each other, governing every thought and action. Synapses are the connections between the neurons, and they fire electrical signals that neurotransmitters carry to the next neuron's dendrite branch. So neurotransmitters are thus key to brain function, and they're strengthened by exercise. Dr. Rattay says exercise is potent. More nerve cells fire when we're exercising than when we're doing anything else. So this activates the brain as a whole. It turns on arousal, attention, the frontal cortex, the executive functioning area. So we're all set to do the world, to participate in the world, to be in the world, but to be in the world really present, if that makes sense. So among the neurotransmitters are norepinephrine, which sparks attention, perception, motivation, and arousal. You and I know of this one, serotonin, which directs the traffic, influencing mood, impulsivity, anger, and aggression, and dopamine, which governs attention and learning, plus our sense of contentment and reward. So, again, all of that from exercise.
You know, the whole deal, everything we're learning about the new stuff we're learning about the brain, which is so different than what we learned in biology or gross anatomy, neuroplasticity and epigenetics and all these things. What we're learning is the more we work our brains, the more we work our bodies, and then I know in a little while we're going to talk about sleep.
Yeah.
All of those things keep our brains growing and active and changing in a way that we didn't even, we don't understand, but we didn't even believe 5 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's like crazy to me. That's so crazy exciting and fun.
I know. You get fired up about that.
I do, because what it tells me is that, you know, the adage that you can't teach an old dog new tricks is totally wrong. That the old dogs can learn. We old dogs, can learn lots of new tricks.
Yes, we can. Bow wow. Bow wow. Memory. Using MRI, Columbia University researchers discovered that BDNF helps the brain create new neurons, a process called neurogenesis, in just two regions, the hippocampus, which is crucial for long-term memory, and the olfactory bulb, the area responsible for smell and taste. This process affects our perception of the world. In tests on rats and mice, exercise doubled the rate of neurogenesis in the hippocampus. Dr. Suzuki reports that finding. Plus, it increased the number of dendrite spines on the neurons as well as their length, all of which improve neuronal communication. These physiological changes are called long-term potentiation, LTP, and in further rodent studies, researchers found that exercise-induced LTP improved hippocampal function as measured by a broad range of memory tests. Other studies have shown similar memory gains for people. In a 2016 report published in Frontiers of Human Neuroscience, researchers conducted MRI scans of cross-country runners and identified significantly greater connectivity between parts of their brain associated with attention, decision-making, multitasking, processing, sensory input, and memory compared with the control group of non-runners. So I think you and Ruben got the rest of the show. I'm going out for a run.
Excellent.
We'll be back. We're talking moving the body to build the brain this evening during Self-Care Week, Wellness Week on Strategies. Welcome back. Welcome back to 1017 FM and 710 KEEL during this Wellness Week here at Strategies for Living. PLPC Carla McCormick and marriage and family therapist David McMillan, trying to sell myself on this exercise thing. See?
Well, right here it says going for a run is like taking a little bit of Prozac.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and there's a reason for that, because you know, we know that beyond our cognitive abilities, that exercise plays this profound role in our mental health. You know, there's a theory that depression is caused, at least in part, by depleted levels of a category of neurotransmitters called monoamines. I think I'm saying that correctly. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And those include serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. And they are all magnified by exercise. Isn't that wild?
Well, we know that. I mean, all the metadata tells us that exercise, going for a walk 30 minutes a day, works better than what most every antidepressant on the market.
Yeah. Now you said a second ago. So going for a run, you said is like taking a little bit of Prozac. Mm-hmm. You know, what about if we add in a little Ritalin with it? Because that's really, according to Dr. Rattay, who we've been quoting. And by the way, let me reference the magazine that we're quoting from here this evening. Experience Life is the name of the magazine. It's their May edition, and the article is written by the deputy editor of that magazine, Michael Dragini. So I do want to reference where we're getting our material from. That's important. But Dr. Rattay says in the process, exercise helps our brain balance hormones. He believes that along with alleviating depression, this harmonizing of our hormones also inoculates us against toxic stress and eases anxiety. So keeping your brain in balance can change your life. I mean, how many times do we say, our good friend from Learning RX, how many times when she's guested on the program have we said, change your brain, you change your life?
Yeah, change your thinking, change your life.
Yeah. Yeah. So exercise has other effects on mood, too. Just as our muscles demand more energy during exercise, our brains gobble glucose. A 2016 study that was published in the Journal of Neuroscience, the University of California, Davis researchers discovered what the brain was doing with all that fuel, making more neurotransmitters.
Changing your brain.
Yeah.
Growing my mind.
Isn't that wild? So MRI scans found that levels of glutamate and gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA, swelled in participants after a stationary bike session. This may aid in tempering depression, according to lead researcher Dr. Richard Maddock, because the stores of glutamate were centered in regions of the brain where the neurotransmitter had been depleted in depressed individuals.
So the evidence is, clear.
Yeah.
You can change your brain.
Yeah. You
can change your life.
Yeah.
So we've got to keep our brains busy.
Yep.
Thinking, reading, all the things that keep our brains active and busy. And we got to keep our bodies busy. We got to keep our bodies moving. Yeah.
Now, and the hard part, Carla, is that when we do get, and you and I deal with people who aren't just a little sad every now and again. We deal with people with clinical depression on occasion.
Right.
And we deal with people with not just a little stress in their life, but that have, some of the people we deal with have pretty severe problems with anxiety. Mm-hmm. Having said that, when you're in those states, and you and I talk about this to our clients all the time, the last thing that you feel like doing is going to exercise.
Right.
And yet, as you say, the research is clear, isn't it?
in AA, they have a saying that says, "Move a muscle, change your mind." And I love that because that's exactly what we're telling people to do. If you move, it doesn't matter. You know, garden, go for a run, go for a walk, whatever you do, move a muscle, and your mind changes.
Yeah, yeah. Many people, including yours truly, I want to stay young. I want to stay young as long as I can stay young. I don't feel 61 years old. I truly don't. And I want to stay that way. So keeping the brain young, all the processes that physical activity induces in the brain, and they all add up to one sum. Exercise keeps our brains young. Everything that we've learned continues to confirm that exercise helps prevent cognitive decline as we age. Again, according to Dr. Rattay, who we've been quoting. All the anti-aging protocols include exercise in a big way, and it's often the number one lifestyle change to help people prevent aging and cognitive decline. Exercise not only makes our brains stronger, it also protects them. Physical activity induces the brain to create enzymes that chew up the amyloid beta protein plaque, and that's what triggers Alzheimer's by strangling the neurons, and that's according to Harvard neurology professor Dr. Rudolph Tanzi, co-author of Superbrains, a New York Times bestseller. So that's kind of neat, isn't it?
I know. See, I love this stuff because you know what? We're not powerless. There are things we can do. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, besides Botox and having plastic surgery, yeah. I'm talking about ways that maybe not that make us look younger, but that make us feel younger, and that we age healthily.
Yes.
And we age well.
Yes.
So we don't want to just live long and be a bunch of, shriveled up old raisins. We want to age well and be productive into our later years. I'm planning on, hiking when I'm 95.
I bet you'll do it. Can I quote you on that?
Yes,
we don't
you
want to be
can.
shriveled up old raisins. A new study by Dr. Tanzi's research team suggests exercise also, listen to this, battles inflammation in the brain. A basic immune system response to injury, inflammation can become chronic as we age, and studies have identified it as a primary agent in Alzheimer's. So exercise, along with lifestyle changes like solid nutrition, good sleep, we're going to be talking about that when we come back from our break, may actually help reverse Alzheimer's and cognitive decline. That's according to Dr. Tanzi. That's not me. That's Dr. Tanzi. Finally, among the flurry of research over the past decade, a 2009 study, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, it was published in the American Journal of Neuroaudiology. You had a problem last night. Okay, do that word, Carla. I can't do it.
Neuroaudiology.
That's it. Thank you. Used MRA on 14 participants between the ages of 60 and 74. Those who exercised weekly significantly increased the number of capillaries in their brain compared to the control group. This contributes to optimum brain functioning, similar to the effects of exercise on healthy muscles. Lead study author there was Elizabeth Bullitt, MD, and she writes, "Our findings suggest that aerobic activity appears to be associated with younger appearing brains." Wow.
So David, your brain probably is young. You probably have a 32-year-old looking brain. Look.
Yeah. Why? Because you can tell by this magnificent body how much I've worked it out. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, because you use your brain muscle a lot.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about some things that we may not know, talking about brain activity here. 3 pounds, that's what the typical brain weighs. Human brains have shrunk significantly over the past 20,000 years. The lost volume is probably equivalent to the size of a tennis ball.
Is that because our brains have gotten more efficient, you think?
I would hope so. I don't know. I don't know.
Is the size of your brain proportional to your intelligence?
I'm not the one to ask that. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a smart listener that'll.
I think it's not.
Yeah, maybe not. 20%. That's the percentage of body available energy in the form of glucose or sugar that the brain uses. That's a lot of sugar.
Whoa.
A lot of glucose.
Yeah.
15%. That's the percentage of the body's blood flow that goes to the brain. Every minute, 750 to 1,000 milliliters of blood flows through the brain, and that's enough to fill up a bottle of wine.
Wow.
100 billion. That's the number of neurons in the brain. The neurons govern every thought, every action, and each neuron can transmit 1,000 nerve impulses each second and make tens of thousands of synaptic contacts with other neurons. So,
you know how like when your computer's working a lot, it gets really hot and has to have a fan.
yeah.
Just think our brains. What's going on inside there.
Woo! Yeah. And you know that's our magnificent system. You know, God created that in us. I mean, we've got we've got the ability to heat and cool until something goes wrong with that. So we kind of got an internal fan, right?
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool? 10%. That's the percentage of our brains that popular mythology says we use. Now, we debunked that the other day.
We sure did.
Modern brain scans show that we use most of our brains most of the time, and that's even when we're asleep. Even when we're sleeping, we use our brains.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just move, right? You want to be sitting down to hear news. Ironically, you might want to be sitting down to hear the good news about moving. Most studies have focused on aerobic exercise and its effects on the brain. Recent research suggests that all exercise is beneficial, including resistance training. A 2017 meta-review of studies that's co-authored by neuroscientist, again, Dr. Wendy Suzuki, and published in the Journal of Brain Plasticity, found that just a single bout of exercise benefits your brain. The review, however, doesn't detail how long that session should be, how intense, or what activities it might include. Wendy was such a good interview, and one of the things that she did in her book is she included. She's a very courageous young lady. I really liked her, and she included pictures. She was courageous. She included pictures of before exercise and after exercise, and they're startling.
Wow.
I mean, you should see the difference. She even kind of looks like a different person, you know?
Well, she is a different person.
And she is, yeah, good point. Good point.
I mean, her brain is different, and the way she thinks is different, and the way she sees herself is different. So when people change, and they change because of exercise, they really do change.
They really do. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about snoozing and the importance of the other side of this, sleep, because we're talking about the body and, how to improve it during Wellness Week here on Strategies. Yeah, I know you do. Welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Welcome back into Strategies for Living during Wellness Week. Okay, so Carla, what is the single best way to heal our bodies and minds, and particularly for women?
Sleep.
Yep.
We've learned that.
Yep. Our brains are wired to need more. You know, they're wired to have to sleep. Women in particular, though, you know, you probably need a little bit more than Ruben and I.
So can I have a shorter work day, boss, please?
No, you can't. I'm sorry. So let's talk about in the time we've got left some of the disruptors. We are strategies for living. So let's talk about some things you can do. If here's the bottom line, there, you know. You can always, if you're one of the millions of Americans dealing with sleeplessness, you can find a solution that works for you. I mean, there's a ton out there. We're going to try to kind of be a whack on the side of the head in some areas tonight. So if the disruptor is your bedroom, nearly 77% of your midnight wake-ups are due to your surroundings. Here's some tricks. Let's say your room is too hot. Temperature is a key biological cue for sleep. Between 60 and 67 degrees is actually ideal. And I remember growing up with those room air conditioners, you know? I loved it.
Yeah, it was. You had the background noise, and it was cold.
You had it all. So cool down body triggers deep slumber. So, you know, you might want to put a fan on it. That's a pretty simple solution. I keep a fan in my bedroom. Just a simple oscillating fan on your dresser moves air evenly in the room and keeps you cool. What's another one?
Choosing the right pillow.
Ooh, yeah. You might want to get you a down pillow, huh?
Yeah, no.
No?
But I do think having the right pillow matters. That's why people take their pillow with them when they travel. And, I mean, you've got to find your pillow, I think.
Yeah. How about this one? Freeze your pillowcase.
I know, I read that. I'm not so sure about that.
In a plastic bag until a half hour before bed. The effect is cool, comfortable, and dreamy. Some people also wear a silk eye mask. It's made of poly fleece or cotton flannel, and it can become toasty too. So be careful there. I like to do this one. Get your hair wet. How about that? You ever do that?
No.
Yeah, get your hair wet. Research shows a cool scalp promotes sleep. To reap the benefits, wash your hair at night, and it dials down your skin temperature. If you're worried about waking up with major bedhead, well, you just do what Ruben does. Or towel dry part of your hair.
What do you mean, cut all your hair off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or apply lightweight styling cream from mid shaft to ends, and twist your hair in a Cinnabon-esque bun. Securing a soft.
Is that what you do?
Yes, what I do. Yeah, I'm giving you my tricks of the trade.
So keep your room cool. What about keeping it dark?
Yeah, the studies show that even small amounts of nighttime brightness can cause wake up. So blackout curtains are a great idea.
That's why when you go to a hotel, you can sleep so well because they have those big blackout curtains, and you can make it really cold.
Yeah, but you can get those, and they're not real expensive. Mute the hallway nightlight. Draft stoppers meant to keep air from creeping under doors can also shut out light. So make your own by filling one leg of an old pair of tights with rice and tying the end and sticking that baby, under the door. And use the right bulb. Blue light can appear white, so you may not even know it if it's spilling out of your bedside lamp. Swapping bulbs that skip the blue. What about if stress is a problem? Because stress interrupts a lot of people's sleep. What's some of the things that we can do to calm the brain down?
Journaling.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be big. Just jotting down a few things at night that that dumps it out, right?
Gratitude journals. That's a great way to start.
Yeah.
You know, for people who don't, I don't know how to journal. I'm like, just start with your gratitudes.
Yeah.
And what was the nugget from yesterday? Write down a new gratitude, something new that you're grateful for
There you
that you've
go.
never written before.
There you go. Progressive relaxation is an important thing to learn. Maybe we'll do a show where we can teach that one evening.
Well, like your toes, your calves, your knees, all the way.
It's actually a form of trance. You can start at your feet and work upward. You tense and relax each area for a few seconds until you get all the way to the top of your head, and that technique makes you aware of what both strain and rest feel like throughout the entire body, and it signals your muscle groups that it's time for sleep. And let's not forget the big O.
Yes.
Having an orgasm helps you sleep. It releases oxytocin, and that actually counteracts stress hormones, as well as serotonin and norepinephrine, which helps your body cycle through the deeper stages of slow wave and REM sleep.
Well, you also get to sleep with a smile on your face.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think, girl.
I like this one, having a heavy blanket, because I like a weighted blanket.
I do too, yeah.
And I think there's something to that, because you think about like kids, when you tuck them in, or even babies when you swaddle them. Mm-hmm. And then they have those those blankets for dogs where you wrap them up, and I think that's the weight and the comfort of there's something biological, I think, there.
Yeah. If the disruptor is noise, for most of us, unwelcome sounds can shock us awake. Research links noisy nights to bad moods and to brain fog. So, let's talk about some things that you might be able to do. If you're dealing with a snoring partner, that's twice as common in men. Snoring can hit actually 90 decibels, believe it or not, as loud as a food blender.
Jeez.
Yeah. So to help calm your mate, first determine whether he's sawing logs from the nose or the mouth, and then hold your ground. Men sometimes don't want to address their own snoring until they see it's impacting their relationship. So women need to be direct, according to the doctors. So some things you can do if it's the nose: nasal spray, stick-on breathing strips will help. Even a nasal stent, small contraption, looks like a plastic nose ring and gently expands the nostrils by pushing them out from the inside. If it's caused by the mouth, side sleeping may help. Back pocket pajamas may help. Kind of bizarre, but it's clever. Put a tennis ball in the pocket of a shirt and flip it backwards, so when the snorer rolls onto his back, he gets a bumpy reminder to roll over on his side. That's kind of neat, isn't it?
Yeah, you wake him up better than being hit in the ribs with an elbow.
Yeah. Or a mouthpiece. It works like a seatbelt to hold the tongue in the proper position all night. Feels like wearing a sports mouth guard. You can ask your dentist or your doctor for brands that they recommend, and some dentists make them for you, custom make them for you. And I we've had as a guest some sleep folks who do sleep studies, and if you think you may have sleep apnea, definitely go to your doctor and get that checked out.
Yeah, there was a high correlation between sleep apnea and heart problems, wasn't there?
Yes, absolutely. I'm convinced that part of my heart issues was really undiagnosed, untreated sleep apnea. So I can't prove that or disprove it, but my theory anyway. And we got Ruben woke up here. Yeah, you just
wakey.
Yeah. We gave him something to talk to Mama about when he gets home. We'll be back. More strategies to come here on Wellness Week. Welcome back. Welcome back to 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Marriage and family therapist David McMillan, PLPC Carla McCormick, Rapid Ruben Wright, our ace producer. So, Wellness Week. We've talked about the body today. What'd you learn?
Today,
Yeah.
I
What's your
learned
takeaway today?
that working my brain is not just doing mental exercises, that working my body works my brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because we had the Learning RX lady, and we've been talking a lot about brain exercises and all the things we can do to keep our brain sharp. But I guess I didn't realize the role that exercise, just physical exercise, played in keeping my brain healthy also.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's important, and hopefully, I hope I've just been trying to sell myself on the idea of this evening. So I think I've got it done. I think I've closed the deal.
You think you're ready?
I think I am. What's your takeaway?
I really like what Carla said, but I'm gonna have to try that tennis ball trick though. My wife is starting to get a little crazy with my snoring.
Oh,
so,
okay. Yeah. So you picked up something this
right.
evening. You picked up
so
a
I
nugget.
don't wake up with a frying pan to the head or something. You know?
That could happen.
So that you do get to wake up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you get more of that other stuff we were talking about.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So we are going to continue with Wellness Week tomorrow. Okay. So we started Self-Care 101 on Tuesday. We talked about the mind. Today, we've talked about the body. So tomorrow, the spirit.
Love it.
Yeah, so let's talk about the spirit tomorrow. So we're going to talk about peace, clarity, and meditation.
Clarity. I like that word.
You like that word? We're also going to talk about finding meaning, more meaning in your life. We probably don't talk enough about meaning. We'll probably talk a little bit about Viktor Frankl tomorrow evening. He's one of my heroes. We'll talk about, not everybody knows who he is. We'll talk about him. And some ways that nature can help you become actually a better person. And
I totally believe that. I told you before that I see God in the mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we don't just have ADD. I think we have NDD, nature deficit disorder.
Oh, I believe that.
We'll talk about savoring silence, and we may even get around to some self-love notes. That's all tomorrow as we deal with the spirit here on Strategies and Wellness Week. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Ruben.
Fun.
And folks, thank you. We've been brought to you by CADA, the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse of Northwest Louisiana. We've been brought to you by Milestones Counseling Center, by Jerry Anderson State Farm, by Learning RX, by Highland Place Rehab and Nursing Center, and by Jacob's Well, Inspirational Books and Gifts, and by Resilient House. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call, what would you say, and why are you waiting? Make the call. For Ruben Wright and for PLPC Carla McCormick, I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. We'll see you next time here on Strategies for Living.
KEEL, KEEL, Shreveport.